Eager eyes beam with gratitude as Hazel enters the room. A delectable platter containing scrambled eggs, grits, gravy, buttermilk biscuits, and a thick slice of country ham is graciously presented. "Here now. How's that look?" inquires the widow as she scoots her chair close to the edge of the bed. "I hope you're hungry," she says with a smile. "Yes, ma'am, Miss Hazel," replies young Perkins as he repositions himself in the bed. "Now what did I?" chides the widow. "Remember now, you're my little fella." "I'm sorry." Young Perkins sheepishly apologizes. "Yes, I'm hungry. I could do with something to eat. Everything looks so good." "Hazel." The young man nervously speaks her name with a halting embarrassment, all the while his eyes beaming with the light of infatuation, the platter of food resting comfortably in her lap. She uses the edge of the fork to cut away a bite-sized portion of ham. "Try this," she says as she places the tasty morsel to the lips of young Perkins, who begins to eat. As he does so, he unconsciously gives an audible sound of delight as he consumes the savory morsel. "That's good," he says. His enjoyment forces the widow to emit a slight chuckle. She again places another morsel of food up to the young man's eagerly awaiting mouth. Bite by delectable bite transports young Perkins further and further away from the pain of Mississippi, away from the nightmare of Muskie, away from the thought of the day that placed him in Kevin's bed. Slowly the widow's face changes to something more somber. Her eyes gaze at young Perkins with a sort of sad, lonesome longing. Leaning forward in her chair, she begins to speak in a low tone. "You know, my little man, your grandmother has been through a lot these few days. She was a mite shaken up the day you came here. You know, the day that Pastor Jackson brought you here. Bessie May. Well, the pastor felt like she and Bessie might do each other a bit of good. We felt they needed each other. You're a big boy now. It might be hard for you to understand, but sometimes when grown folks are hurting, I mean deep down like your grandma and Bessie May, they need to help each other through the pain. You know, to carry each other's load when the load gets too heavy. That's Silas. Well, he ain't never been much of a comfort, nohow. So we thought that you might come and live with me for a spell, seeing that there is no room here. You poor thing." Hazel's warm brown eyes begin to tear. "Would you like to come and stay with me for a while?" Bright explosions of technicolor joy remove all memory of past horrors as the thought of life with Hazel presented itself as an actual possibility. The young man's mind furiously struggles to hold back a six-string team of wild emotions. The thought of spending long winter nights with the absolute centerpiece of his heart's desire. Waves of dark, caramel-colored, rapturous joy overwhelmed young Perkins. He wanted to leap from the bed, wrap his arms around the lovely widow, and carry her away. With all the composure of a Tibetan monk, young Perkins responds with a simple, "Yes, well then, that's settled," says the widow. Her somber expression changes. She smiles with a pleasant glow that makes her appear as something angelic. "That's my little man. After breakfast we'll get your things together here, and you can come with me. I have a spare room. Mind you now, it'll just be you and me. It might get a mite lonely with just us two. You think you'll be all right?" Young Perkins' inner mind screams. "Will I be all right? Hell yeah. I'll be more than just all right. I'll be great." Breakfast now, over the young man's platter of food, cleaned of every morsel. The widow Hazel laughingly comments on young Perkins' appetite. "My lord," she says with a smile, "you must have been half-starved. Lucky for you, Pastor Jackson left some of your clothes here." The widow opens the closet door and retrieves a beat-up suitcase containing the young man's overalls, an extra pair of pajamas, a pair of black patent leather shoes, and a worn black suit and white shirt. He put your Sunday go-to-meeting suit in here. As she inspects the open case, she removes the young man's overalls, saying that he had been placed in bed with just his underwear. Holding the pair of overalls up, the widow asks, "Do you think you can dress yourself, or do you want me to help you?" As young Perkins lay frozen in a state of mad, giddy delirium, he bites down hard on his bottom lip. The sharp pain is a welcome sensation, assuring him that it isn't all a dream. "I'm awake," he unconsciously blurts out, instantly clapping his hands over his mouth. Puzzled by the sudden outburst, the young widow reassures him, "Yes, sweetheart, you're awake, do you? Do you feel okay? Maybe you should lay back down. We can do this tomorrow. I don't want to rush you before you're ready. You know my place is quite a ways from here." "You fool," young Perkins mentally berates himself for such an untimely display of emotion. "No, Ma, no, Hazel. I'm just fine. I'm glad to go with you. I'm tired of laying in this bed." "You're not dizzy, are you?" she asks, with a note of concern. No, I be just fine. You don't have to help me get dressed. I can do that myself." But the young maturing adolescence in him deliberates on whether or not to feign the inability of bathing himself. "Oh, I can't wait till Saturday night when it's time for my bath. Lord Jesus, how could you be so good to a poor colored boy like me? Well then, I guess I'll leave you to dress yourself." She lays the young man's overalls across the foot of the bed and exits the room, closing the door behind her. As she does so, young Perkins rushes over to where his overalls lay, lifting them in his arms. He begins to dance around the room as if he were holding the widow herself. He dips in a dramatic manner, and with eyes closed, young Perkins comically performs the motion of kissing, lost in the dream world of a young man's fantasy. He is rudely snapped back to reality by the sound of mocking laughter. "Ha, ha, ha, fool. What do you think you're doing? Them clothes ain't her." Young Perkins, shocked by his discovery, hurriedly dresses, while Kevin, all the while laughing, exclaims, "Ha, ha, you must be crazy. You'd have better luck with them faded overalls than you'd ever have with Hazel. Man, she's a grown woman, you just 13. What luck you think you have with her?" The absurd reality forces even young Perkins to laugh. "Yeah, Kevin, man, I guess you right. I don't know what I was thinking." Young Perkins gazes at Kevin with a lascivious expression. "Well, but a body can dream. A body can show dream." Whereupon the two young men burst out in a chorus of laughter. "What y'all doing in there?" Kevin's mother calls from the kitchen. "Oh, nothing, Mama." He yells with laughter. "We just getting ready." A knock is heard at the front door. "That's probably Pastor Jackson," Kevin says. "Let me get your suitcase." "Thanks, Kevin," says young Perkins. "Well, now I guess you can have your bed back." "Well, I guess I can." Kevin walks over, lifts the suitcase, lays a friendly hand on young Perkins' shoulder. "Leastwise, I'm glad to see you're all right. I hope Miss Emma and Bessie May be better. We was all worried about y'all." Kevin leans forward with a wry smile and declares in a half-whisper, "If you have any luck with Hazel, let me know." Whereupon the two once more laugh. Just before they leave the bedroom, young Perkins declares with a soft voice, "You never know. I might just wind up being your uncle." The wild statement sends the young men into a frenzy of snickering.